Hi, and welcome to Cujo Sound. Bjørn Jacobsen speaking. Let's go into the game's menu and see if we can turn down the music and listen more closely to the actual sounds. There. Probably a standard RGB C and Ys controlling the overall volume of the music bus. Some nice sounds here with these statues and some combat coming during the tutorial mission.
Revelio. I suppose I'm on my own this time. Lumos.
But here, when these statues are turning individually, they sound really nice. But it becomes quite clear that they are all using the same sound and loop, as once we have all three of these statues at the same time, they clearly phase or have a slight delay and play on top of each other.
It seems I have no choice. I'm going to have to fight my way out of here.
We also have a sample here that sounds like it's coming straight out of the cinematic sound library, their Mega Horns section. Unfortunately, during the recording of this, I forgot to turn the music back on, and the menu isn't available during cinematics, so I couldn't turn the music back on. So I had to witness this without the music, making this intro screen here a rather flat experience. As I'd assume, there would be some rather epic music here to accompany this main title screen. Not that it sounds bad or boring or anything like that, but cinematics should have music like this. We meet the Sorting Hat at this point, and it gives me Ravenclaw. For some reason, that is the house that the companion app thinks I should have. I guess fair enough. The Sorting Hat, just like in the motion pictures here, have a rather vocal fry voice.
You're clever indeed. You have the ability to reflect clearly on that which puzzles others. And you've a ready mind, quick to learn. Perhaps you belong in Ravenclaw.
I'm currently sick while recording this, so my voice is messed up while doing this, but vocal fry on a character like this always remind me of a Kardashian speaking a regular sentence. Later on, when at the actual school, we have a lot of ambience playing in the background as well as music. But tap this piano here and it starts playing, and it does actually take over the game's non-diegetic music to avoid musical cacophony.
Hold your tongue. I do not talk about her all the time. You haven't seen her about, have you?
As far as I can see, the only potion worth learning is Sleeping Draught. Best time for the history of
There is a lot of either random or well-placed dialogue from the NPCs around the game, as well as the ones you can interact with, and it is certainly a job well done on getting it to sound like they're actually distant or in the room or not really important or something that you shouldn't interfere with, and it doesn't bother your immersive experience. Here we have a staircase, which is a great example of how two rooms connect, but the ambience does change. In Unreal and Wise, this can be done by setting up an AK room node on your level blueprint and adjust it to be the size of the room. Another room, an AK room, is placed below it just for a nice little crossfade traversing between the two. You could think that the gate between these two is just a vertical line going from the top level to the lower level, and that could be one way of doing it.
Good morning. I trust you're ready for your first day at Hogwarts.
But since
I've been
this
dreaming of
staircase
this
is
day
the
for a
only
long
way
time.
to access either one or the other room, the gate might as well just be tiny and placed right here on the stairs. While moving between these two rooms, it also becomes quite obvious how reverb is affected, and how one piece of NPC dialogue not in the active room is muffled quite a bit. Making it sound really nice, like it's actually distant, like there's actually busy stuff going on at the school. Also notice here that the music upstairs, here, and the ambience doesn't affect each other at all. So turning off the music means that the ambience can be heard and it's quite loud. Once the music is back on, it's just on top of it. I think this could have been mixed a little bit better just to make room for more dynamics in the audio spectrum.
Now, in light of your
Speaking of
unique
reverb,
situation,
there is a
joining us as
slight
a
difference
figure,
between the
you'll need
reverb
to
or
catch
almost
up
no
with your
reverb on the
classmates and
dialogue of the
not
main
fall
character
behind,
compared to the dialogue of the
especially as
NPC
you'll be
characters that you can
expected to
actually
complete
interact
your
with.
OWLs at the end of the year.
OWLs? Owls?
Yes, your ordinary wizarding level exams.
Before you immersed yourself in studies, did I hear you and Professor Weasley talking about exploring ruins?
She caught me off guard. I didn't tell her anything else about our travels here. I will say,
I
think
like
she
the music of the
suspects we're not
game.
being
It fits the
entirely
genre and
forthcoming.
fantasy quite well. It's not exactly like the original John Williams stuff, but circles around it quite well, and it does use the main theme here and there when something really needs to remind you that this is actually Harry Potter, even though this is actually Hogwarts and it's taken place years before the actual Harry Potter storyline.
Happens to the best of us.
One thing that I can't get out of my head when playing this game is how much this in fact reminds me of playing the game Bully by Rockstar. There was a rumor that a second one was coming, but also a rumor that it was cancelled or at least iced indefinitely. So if this is the game you want, then you have it right here. Bully, the Fantasy Edition. You run around a school, dorms, and classes and do stuff.
I've always said that travel broadens the mind.
You also get this very nice sounding UI UX menu here where you can see your inventory, the map, and other things. And here you get a small hovering sound when hovering the icons, which goes away when you don't hover it any longer. Sounds like a start event when you start the hover, and it just stops when you leave again. But just a stop and no fade out with no actual ending sound. You also have the option to pitch your character's voice, which I to begin with thought was a really cool option, as my character has a slightly lighter voice than I'd like. This is role-playing after all.
That's Ioni. I've noticed you spending time with them.
I'd like to go with Natty.
Excellent choice. Miss Onai is one of our most talented students.
Rookwood?
A rather unsavory local.
You have a new spell to teach me, Professor.
Indeed I do.
It seems as if that might come in handy. Professor, why must I complete these tasks?
This option doesn't work at all. I slightly lowered the pitch and noticed instead of an actual pitch down or a different voice or something like that, there is a live time stretch filter on it coming directly from Wise, making the voice sound really mechanical and just ruining the experience, unfortunately. So I just put it back to normal pitch. The game has tons of audio cues like these pages that you find here and there, and they have a small sound to hint their location.
Revelio.
But also, if you're on a mission where you need to find stuff once close to where to find it, the character will tell you where they are or that they are near.
I'd better keep an eye on high places around the school for Zenobia's gobstones. Accio! I'd better keep an eye on high places around the school for Zenobia's gobstones.
Unfortunately, with the same line of dialogue every time. But you do have this reveal spell. It's a really smart way of revealing stuff in the game, as not only does it visually show you interactable items, it also hints their location by playing a small ding spatialized at the location of the object.
Revelio.
Meaning that you can now look in that direction and hopefully you will know where to go.
Revelio. Revelio. Lumos.
We also get some nice Chopin and Bach vibes around these areas of the game here, close to this frog instrument. NPC dialogue is quite muffled and attenuated, as I've shown before, but if you are to follow a character or they have something important to tell you, their attenuation is pretty much 2D for a very long distance. Actually, so long that you can leave their mission area before hearing a tiny hint of them actually being attenuated.
Grave mistake to take it as an elective class, believe me.
I believe you.
Though I suppose you would not really call it elective when your mother was the one who...
While we're at it, notice how the music and the sound here is muffled when the mission area warning pops up. This is a game state set in Wise, which just muffles an entire bus or just a bunch of buses or other things just in the Wise mixer hierarchy, simply by setting the state to something like UI gameplay warning on or off, and this allows the warning sound to play freely and the rest of the game world is placed in the background. The same goes for when an important UI message pops up and you have to click something to continue. The game has lots of funny sounds that fits the Harry Potter universe quite well, like these flowers here, or when picking up various plants. Saxophone, go nuts. The footsteps in the game are fine, though this particular marsh dirt ground material here has like 1 or 2 samples in the random group that seems to repeat a little too often. But that's not something too serious, as the rest of the steps on planks, indoor, outdoor, grass, ground, etc. all sound great. And we have a nice sweetener here when you're walking through leaves or other foliage. There's a couple of sounds missing here and there, like this guy here clearly throwing out some statement to the public, but he is quite silent. As an accessibility option, the game offers a sound visualizer, allowing a center circle to appear as part of the game's UI, showing you important sounds as icons and from which direction they are coming, making this game playable and the use of audio information useful to deaf players, which is really well done.
Seems to be running Wingott since its bricks were laid.
I wonder what Merlin would think of a wizard.
Not enough reflection on it.
As mentioned, I'm trying not to spoil much in this video, so the only combat we will really see is this troll here, just to get an idea of how it sounds. Some filters turn on and off whenever you have QuickTime options, just like low passing turn it on and off, and some other sounds are happening whenever you're doing stuff in the scene. It's a quite nice solution to this kind of combat. In this scene here, it sounds like some sounds of magic or moving items are missing. But I'm suspecting that this is some sort of automated occlusion is happening, like if the spell is triggered behind a building. And if occlusion is present when the sound is triggered, it stays muffled and doesn't change if the object suddenly isn't occluded any longer.
One less thing for Officer Singer to worry about. Reparo.
And it gives us these little weird moments of moving items or sounds filtered, even though they are in plain sight. I hope you enjoyed watching this episode of Cujo Sound and the sounds of Hogwarts Legacy. I enjoyed making it for you. Hopefully you will watch the next rendition as I have split this up into multiple videos. If you like this video, please hit the thumbs up, and if you like this channel, consider subscribing. If you want to know more about game audio and support the channel and the effort I put into making these videos, you can do so over at patreon.com/Cujo Sound. I would really appreciate it. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again in one of the many other videos from the past or the future ones that are coming. This is Bjørn Jacobsen signing out. And hopefully I won't die.